Hi folks, today I've got a bit of a review of the Battle Systems Fantasy Village Terrain. This is the biggest set they do, I believe, and this is 420 pieces of modular 28 to 35 millimeter terrain, and there is no painting required, as all of the terrain is printed card. So here you can see exactly what's in that box. I've also been sent a couple of other boxes as well that we might look at in the future if folks want to see them. This one is the Ruined Monastery and the Village Ruins. But what you can see on the table here is only what's in the Fantasy Village. This mat here that you can see on is a 3x3 mat, so it gives you a rough idea of just how much terrain you get in the box. Now there's a number of different buildings in here and some scattered terrain too. So all of these fences that you see here all come in this kit too. There's a townhouse type building here as well, and all of these are removable as well. The roofs do come off as well, so you can see that there's an upstairs floor in there. There's lots of scattered terrain which has bookcases and tables and chairs and things as well that I haven't actually built everything up yet. And obviously the tops lift off as well. Here you can see inside this house with some kind of satanic prayer mat there, which is a nice little touch. Those floor tiles as well, let me just are removable, and you can actually flip them over as well. So if you don't want to have kind of a devil worshipper living in your village, you can do that. Now all of these buildings clip together with these plastic clips, which on first kind of inspection look a little bit sort of obtrusive, and you might think, oh, they're not really for me kind of thing. However, once they're all built up, they do kind of blend in with the scenery. And one thing I would say for these houses is to really give them a fantasy feel are those kind of like the swooping down roofs. A lot of the older battle system stuff was quite kind of boxy and quite flat, which suits a sci-fi aesthetic, but for fantasy I think they've really nailed it with this one. You've also got some kind of barn here with a kind of like living accommodation underneath with a bit of a winch here to basically lift stuff up into the barn. Just taking the top off there as well. Again, you can see inside. There's also little trapdoors in here which you can open as well. Let me just push that there so you can see. And again, these top pieces do lift off, and there's some like sort of interiors and things that you can put into them. Again, like I said, like chairs, tables, bookcases and bits and pieces. You can also see there's some ladders there which go up to a doorway at the side, so there's some nice bits of scattered terrain. Here we have kind of like a tavern, which is a kind of almost like a big centerpiece type model really. There's some doors come through the front here, and some steps leading up to a bit of a veranda that goes around the side there, a bit of a balcony. Again, all of these roofs lift off. Here you can see one of the beds inside that I did make up, and if you look outside you can see one of the tables and chairs as well that I also did. These can be built in essentially you kind of have to follow the instructions, but you can tend to be able to put some of the doors and windows where you want to, although I must admit these feel a little less modular than the sci-fi terrain. The sci-fi stuff definitely felt like you could kind of build it however you wanted to. This stuff feels like you kind of have to follow the instructions. And as far as instructions go, what I would say is it's both a plus and a minus really. The positive side is that all of the instructions for these are on the Battle Systems website, so you can watch through the videos and see Colin putting them all together, which is great to be able to see it. However, you do have to kind of watch through the video and keep stopping it and pausing it and maybe rewinding it a little bit, and maybe some printed instructions or some instructions online might have been a little bit easier to follow. Again, you can see some of the scatter terrain here. You get lots and lots of these barrels. These are all rolled up, basically sort of card that you essentially roll up and then just put a spot of glue on the ends to put these barrels down. Here you can see kind of like a boathouse. And again, you get these kind of like these wooden verandas around the outside. You get a couple of these little boats actually. I've just put one on here for now. And one thing I would say is, so you can see on here, what I've done is I've basically took a coloured pen and I've coloured in the edges here, which really help the kind of the card side of stuff, help it blend in. If I compare it to something like this crate here with the quite sort of white card edges, I definitely say it's worth taking the time to kind of colour those edges, but it is time consuming. It depends on kind of how finicky you are about that kind of stuff. You can see a little bit here, I've kind of coloured the edges of this roof here with a grey pen, and across the top there the wood with a brown one. And then if I compare it to this one you can see which hasn't been coloured, just the difference in those kind of things. These are little pieces of kind of water as well. What's quite interesting with these is there's a piece that can be taken off, and there's some extra packs with more waterways in that you can build a nice river across your board. And then obviously these bits just clip back in. There's a nice little cottage here as well with a chimney on the front. And again, the roofs are removable, and you can put some furniture and stuff inside, or you can play it inside the buildings. And then there's a couple of these kind of little sort of barn type things. This one here is actually a veranda that can be moved from the tavern, and we'll actually just clip on the side of that there. I'll not put it there for now, but yeah, so this is basically what you get inside that box. You get all of these fences that I'm knocking over as I'm recording here. There's a nice little sign here for the town, which essentially says where evil calls home, which is a nice little nice little touch. But yeah, you do get quite a lot inside this kit. I would say if you're playing any kind of 3x3 games, something like Kings of War Vanguard, or maybe Malifaux or something like that, I think there's probably enough terrain in here to be able to set up to a board. What do I say about the quality of it? It's a bit of a mixed bag, really. As I was putting it together, I have to admit, I wasn't really enjoying doing it, punching them out and kind of trying to bend little things. Some of these roof parts here, you might be able to see a bit of creasing on these roofs here. And I did really, really gently, as Colin tells you in the video, just bend them very gently. I found it very difficult to not kind of create those creases. As you can see on here as well, where the lights are shining for filming, it is quite sort of shiny as well. I would like it to be a little bit more matte, but I guess for most people that's not really a problem. It's more of a problem for me if I'm filming things. But I didn't really enjoy putting them together, if I'm perfectly honest. That said, once you actually get them on the table, you do kind of then appreciate just how much stuff you get inside this box. And actually, just for general gaming, it is pretty good. What I would say is, you do have to store this. This is not the kind of stuff that you want to be taking apart and putting away, a little bit more like the core space stuff. This stuff, once it's built, really it benefits from just staying together. So you're going to have to find somewhere to store it, and obviously with it being card terrain, you're going to have to look after it a little bit more carefully as well. So it's a bit of a mixed bag, really. What I would say is, if you don't have any terrain, or you're just starting a new fantasy game or something, and you want to get it done really quickly and have a really nice looking board, this stuff will really kind of help bring that game to life. But if you're wanting something that's going to last for a long, long time, I'm not sure on how robust this will be. Keep getting stored and getting pulled out of boxes and things. But yeah, like I say, there is a few other sets available as well. There is the Ruined Monastery set here, which is a ruined monastery, not much more to say about that. And then there's also the Village Ruins as well, which is essentially kind of a lot like these buildings here, but looks like there's been some kind of dragon fight or something like that. So yeah, things like Call to Arms, the Skyrim game, things like Kings of War Vanguard, those kind of games, this will be right up your street. Something like maybe even Rangers of Shadow Deep, or maybe even new Frostgrave version 2 as well. But this is the kit. I'll put a link down in the description so you can check it out for yourself. But let me know down in the comments what you think. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching my video. I hope that you really enjoyed it. And if you did, why not consider clicking on the suggested video below to see more of the work that I've done. If you'd like to support the long-term sustainability of this channel, why not consider checking out my Patreon, where you can pledge and support from as little as $2 a month. And there is lots of different tiers and bonuses, which will give you access to a private Discord server. It will give you free t-shirts, free mugs, a podcast every month, and a number of other things, including getting your name at the end of every video, like these awesome folks who already support me now.